What was that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
BARFF!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. BARFF!
BARFF? What are you?
Are we recording so I can say this sucks?
Here we go. BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Brian the Commish, and joining me tonight on Zoom, on the big screen, as always, the co-host of the show, Walt Mikulski. Walt, this is going to be pretty crazy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Brian. Yeah, this is going to be unreal. Looking forward to it.
We've got on the Zoom screen the owner of Sody Pantloads, Kyle is here. We've got the owner of No Lineup Needed, Christian is here. And we've also got coming in for a guest appearance, the owner of Worst Team Ever, Tyler is here. Gentlemen, it's good to see you tonight.
Good to see you, Commit.
All right. Let's jump into last week's games. We're going to talk about last week. Walt, let's start with your game. This can't be right. Hold on. Where am I? So let's get into this is the wrong week. I'm like, oh, this is this week's matchup, but no, that's because it is this week's matchup. Let's talk about the playoff games from last week. We had Sody Pantloads sitting this one out. Huey Lewis in the News sitting this one out. We had Worst Team Ever playing Born to Run. Walt, tell us about your game.
Yeah, so it ended up being not as close as I originally thought it would be. So a little bit shocked by it. I think the most surprising thing for me was the 8 points that Aaron Jones put up against a very juicy matchup against Detroit. So ultimately, that one was a killer, and the other killer was, I had great production. David Montgomery, AJ Green, all those guys, they surpassed expectations, and then Aaron Rodgers basically to me is what made ultimately the difference, because Aaron Jones 8, Aaron Rodgers 34, big differential for favor of me.
Yeah, at 132 to 115, this was a little more of a walk for you than I expected, but there had been that caution, and I'll bring Tyler in. Tyler, I'm just trying to play the host role, but I was a little bit concerned about the lack of production heading in, and it seemed to jump up and bite you again this week. What did you think with your team's 115 performance, and what was the reason for it?
Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers. He can go. Yeah. Him with refusing to run Aaron Jones is honestly mind-boggling to me, playing the worst rush defense in the league, and he gets the ball only a handful of times, putting up 8 points. I mean, his production was there. He just wasn't getting the volume that, you expect a guy like Aaron Jones to get, especially playing such a bad defense. They keep passing the entire game, even though when they're up big. In the end, that's I really think is what made the difference, was that huge gap between the points Aaron Rodgers put up and then Aaron Jones. And Zeke Elliott as well, God knows doing what out there. I don't know if he's got a injury that he's nursing or something. Or again, it could just be that Packers vibe with Pat McCartney now, Mike McCarthy now coaching the Cowboys with that lack of the running game. In the end, it killed me. And move on to next year, I guess. That's all we can do at this point.
Yeah, it's tough when you're getting 15 points combined from your running backs, and they're two big names. You don't expect to get let down like that in the playoffs. That's when it always jumps up to get us, though. Walt, 11 points from Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, that lineup moving forward in the playoffs?
I don't think so. I just love the matchup, Hilaire. And then I was a little concerned. Of course, he'd come back from the injury, not injury, but illness. They said he lost weight. I saw a lot of news saying he was going to be on a bit of a pitch count. So that's really what drove that move. And Gordon had a great matchup. As it turns out, really didn't make that much of a difference. And along with the trade heard around the world was absolutely a big nothing. It meant nothing to the outcome of this game, which was pretty amazing too.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler gets 12 points from Mark Andrews, which this year for a tight end 12 points, you can't really argue with. This is the year of the 8-point tight end. There's only 3 guys scoring points, and he's one of them. Jonnu Smith, again, there's another concern for you. Walt, he gets 4. And you rode the Tyler Lockett roller coaster once again. Tyler Lockett's going to go 40, 50 points for you one week, and then he's going to take a couple weeks off because that offense moves all over the place. Concerns at tight end for you?
No, just because with my next matchup, yes, because there's a huge differential between his tight end and my tight end. But normally, no, because like you said, production from that position is pretty sparse for everyone except for a couple of teams. So,
well, worst team ever bows out. Had a great run this season, Tyler. You were at the top spot for weeks, and unfortunately, this slide hit you when it really hurts the worst, and that enough times, and it's a first-round exit for you. So good job this year. You got to come back and get them next year. Let's look at the second game that was played last week. The improbable Boston Beans. Taking a lot of heat on the podcast, and yet they pull off the great last week of the season upset of Sody Pantloads to get in, and sure made a run at it, falling eventually 137 to 126 to no line needed. And I'm going to bring you in. You're the defending champ. Tell me about this game. Tell me about your feelings heading into it after this almost miraculous appearance in playoffs for you this year at 6-7.
Well, I was just happy to get in. The projections were a little crazy. I think at the Sunday morning it was like 144 to like 112 or something crazy like that. But then as the day went on, Tua went off, Gesicki went off to some displeasure by probably Jordan, and then just Giovanni Bernard kind of screwed me, getting 2 points. I feel like if we had a running back that got maybe 15, we would have been fine. And Christian got lucky with a Washington D putting up crazy amount of points. So, it sucks, but I couldn't have made any other lineup moves that would have put me over that hump to beat Christian. No,
you did. I thought you did a great job. 126. We've been saying that this Boston Beans team sometimes has a little bit of trouble with firepower, and you brought it led by 30 points from Tua, so no one can take that away for sure. Christian, I'm going to bring you in on this 15 points from Roethlisberger, and it's a little bit of a squeaker. What did you think about the game, and were you nervous heading through the weekend?
Oh, well, when I shut off my phone when it like probably third quarter of the Kansas City Miami game, and Tua has 17 points, and I come back midway through the fourth and he has 30 because he just ran for a TD. Yeah, I was sort of nervous. I was actually definitely nervous. I was like, damn, this is gonna be close. I knew it was gonna be close the moment that Gesicki and Tua popped off, but I think I have a team that I have essentially 2 positions that get 20 points plus every week or about that. And so I'm fairly confident in those 2 players. But, there's a lot of talk of me getting lucky in the kicker and defense position. Yet you all know that I am the founder of the defense and kicker priority in this league. Maybe 7 years early, but I get massacred, some pariah about it. And yet, I'm the guy. I have multiple 20-point weeks from defense, multiple high teens points from the kicker position. So I don't want to hear this. I think that this season has proven to be it's been the proving ground of my strategy. And Jordan out here dropping Young Hoku when he gets injured, no faith, and probably the best kicker the league's ever seen in a single season. So that's why I credit Young Hoku with my current run in the playoffs. He's a carry on my team.
Yeah, and when you can get that kind of reliable production from a kicker, it's so amazing for a team. Walt, I'll ask you about your run last year. You had a great regular season. You stomped everyone, and you had that New England last year that was putting up 20 points a week, and Christian gets 23 from the Washington D this week. It's hard to stop a team that gets that kind of production from the D.
Yeah, it is, but ultimately, when it counted, it dried up on me. So there is, I guess, a dependency on a kicker and D. It is risky. You know, Mr. Miyagi, you know, he's schooling us all on maybe that's the formula. But last year, I came up short because of that. So I do. It's worrisome when you rely on that kind of production from those two positions.
Yeah, I agree. Kyle, let's bring you in on this. So there was this real Hail Mary in week 13 of the regular season, and the Boston Beans takes out the top-ranked team in BARFF, and they came within, what do we got here, 4, 7, 11 points of meeting you in round 2 of the playoffs. What were you thinking as you watched this game between no lineup needed and the Beans, and were you nervous? Were you a little bit any concern with facing Boston Beans in the second round if that had been how it worked out?
You know, I was rooting for him. We all love Tua. He's a friend of the program. But we like to call the Honor Bowl, 2 Honor Bowl owners. We like to, you know, we had the Honor Bowl to end the season. It would have been nice to have a nice Honor Bowl in the semifinals. But, you know, Christian has a good team. Tough to see Tony go down. But I think the better team did win. Too bad for Tony. Maybe next year for Tua.
Yeah. We'll see what that Finns this last game. They get roughly 60 points between the three Finns on the Boston Beans lineup for this final week. So that looks like it's good things moving ahead. But Kyle, now you've got no lineup needed coming to town. This is it. You had your week off, and now it's win, and you play for your 3rd golden toilet seat. Tell me about your feelings heading into this matchup with Christian and no lineup needed.
I'm feeling pretty confident, especially since after today I saw that the Redskins defense that got him 25 points is on his bench. As we know with the Tua mojo, taking something like that, that's just bad mojo coming for your team. Can't swap out your guy like that. So he might be playing mind games. I'm probably getting in his head right now. I can see it in his face. But he'll probably go and change them right back in. But that's some bad juju you don't want coming your way, making that switch.
Christian, Sody Pantloads is on a run all year. They had a great year. You also had a great year, but they're the 9-win team that's sitting home during the first round of the playoffs, and you had to go in there as the 8-win team and fight it out. What are your feelings in regards to your confidence level heading in against such a highly ranked opponent?
You know, I've said this time and time again this season is that I'm not afraid of any of these teams, and you know, a lot of people don't talk about like the projections because the projections on ESPN blow. They are like the worst things I've ever seen on the planet. But ESPN loves my team. Loves my team. We're talking like 140 like every week is my projection. So there has to be some merit to that, even if they don't reach it. And I think that, you know, I mean, I've been fiddling with it a little bit, trying to optimize it. But at the end of the day, when you have a couple players you can really count on, and I think I have a fairly good matchup base team in the playoffs. Like I think a lot of my team players play only shitty teams in the playoffs or for BARFF. So, you know, I think I have to be, yeah, I'm confident. I think there can be, you know, I can definitely see my way to the final.
Yeah, you know, ESPN's giving you the love. I've shown that same love. You gotta prove me right because nothing else went right for me this year. So I at least I think it was a month ago I said that I saw no lineup need to get into that title game. But wow, what a mountain you've got to climb with this matchup with Sody Pantloads. So good luck to both of you. Walt, on the other side of the bracket, you're looking across the table at no lineup needed and Sody Pantloads. If you win this week, you're gonna face one of them for the title. Tell me how you see this game going this week with these two teams.
Yeah, so before I see the Pantloads is he's hanging on. He's got the hand up, so I'm going to let him talk before I address. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just to circle back with the projections on ESPN, just the blatant disrespect from the guys at the top there, giving me only 127, where I've only put below like 132 4 times this season, and that's when guys were on bye weeks and stuff. So, you know, I hate to see that, but it is what it is. Anyways, take it away, Born to Run.
All right, you're done. Yeah. So looking at my game, I again here talk about projections. Based on the projections, it shouldn't even be remotely close. I mean, it's saying 142 to 115. That hurts seeing that big of a projection. I mean, the matchups are good. I'm not thrilled with Jonathan Taylor against Houston, but if you're relying on Jonathan Taylor, I don't know if I can buy. They're projecting 12, and to me that can go either way. Robert Woods against the Jets, not a good matchup for me either. That hurts. And Deontay Johnson against Cincinnati, another great matchup. Flip to my side. I don't hate my matchups. I got fairly decent ones. The one, though, that's the absolute killer is Tyler Lockett against the Washington defense. So not thrilled with that one. Russell Wilson has struggled, in my mind, against really good Ds. I think, they got that projected at 13, which could be generous for all I know. So if I had to point to one matchup, I think might make a big difference. That could be the one.
Yeah. Yeah, that opponent, I'm not sold that they've got their definite starting lineup in there. I'm going to advocate a little. We tried to have Connor on tonight, we couldn't get him. So I'm gonna take the side of Huey Lewis in the news tonight. It feels good to actually talk about a good team rather than this knucklehead situation that I had all year. But I will still say, he dealt Carson. So at one point, Huey Lewis in the news had Kamara, Jacobs, and Carson. And I think I said it during the draft review. What were the rest of us doing during the draft? I know we were there. I saw us picking players, and he ends up with these juggernaut running backs. He's plugging in Jonathan Taylor as of this moment. Woods is questionable. I don't know. There's a lot of strengths top to bottom in here. He's making his quarterback choices. He ends up with Allen and the rookie that's getting all the buzz, Herbert, who's throwing for 300 yards a game. It's tough to find weaknesses in this team. It really just depends on what team he's going to put on the field for the actual game. I don't see a whole lot. I saw weeks ago he picked up George Kittle, and I think that maybe he was banking on a little I'm all of a sudden going to have either George Kittle available by the trade deadline, which I'm surprised that he didn't try to move him and try to, plant some hope in someone for playoff time. But I don't know whether that pickup is going to work out for him. I don't see Kittle playing anytime soon, but this is a formidable team.
Sure.
So, Walt, you've got this tough matchup, but again, look at the other side with Sody Pantloads in no lineup. Who do you see coming out for there? Who do you want to see coming out? Because you could be playing one of those teams for the BARFF title.
I can't wait to answer. But Tony, we had another question from our owners here. So go ahead, Tony. I'll let you ask or comment.
I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh, it was just a quick response to Kamish said, what were the rest of us doing during the draft? I was just going to say picking Zach Ertz in the third round.
If you want to have a lot of pain in your life, go into the draft history and look at it. And so many players or owners are going to look at their first round picks that didn't play much all year, and all these other players that got picked around the players that we took. And it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
So thank for that question, because let me expand here. So, part of me says, hey, I would love to see Christian get to the title game and then play Christian. I think two guys very deserving of a title. If I win, great. If Christian wins, even better. Be happy for him. But then there's the part of me that wants to play Sody Pantloads, because I've come out, I say, yeah, there's his little picture. Who's your daddy? And that's why I want him. So it's really, I'm torn because, everyone wants to get the monkey off their back, kind of, quiet the naysayers and get that, like I said, monkey off your back. So it's a tough call. But Kyle, I hate to say it, I'd rather face Christian in the title game. And I don't even know if you're going to get there, my friend, because if I was predicting a winner, I'm going with Christian this week.
I have to step back and let responses be heard here.
All right,
I'm sure that there's some coming.
We need Jordan to clip that for when I make my next video, going back in time of the podcast and like making a meme out of it to send it to the group. So I'm just gonna save that statement right there. I'll remember
Hello,
that.
go ahead.
I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this, but it's official. I am putting a bounty on Sody Pantload's heads, and the first one to knock them out is going to be getting a Christmas present from Worst Team Ever.
Wow.
Oh, it's getting contentious in here.
Well, we have Worst Team Ever unmuted. I just would like to point to the fact that, remember that podcast, he said Aaron Jones is my RB1, and then he just the first minute of this podcast trashing Aaron Jones. If only someone knew beforehand.
Remember that part I said you get lucky a lot? Yeah, it just keeps going for you. It's going to run out, buddy. It's going to run out.
All right, let me bring Christian back in. Christian, you're going to look across the table now. Huey Lewis in the news again. Connor's not here to talk up his team. I saw the comment about the fleecing that resulted in Travis Kelce playing for Huey Lewis in the news. But Christian, who do you want to see? You look at this matchup. Who do you want to see come out of this on top and potentially be your opponent in the title game?
I mean, I think for Kyle and I, Kyle definitely wants to see Born to Run come out of it. I know, and I am the same way. I think we can both say that we don't want to see Huey Lewis in the news come from that side of the bracket because you talked about how his team is just stacked, and we all just sort of sat there and watched him do it. And I'm sorry, but I do not want to see that team come out. As much as I say I'm not afraid of anyone, if I think there's a matchup where I have the chance to win the Golden Toilet, there's a much more defined chance against Walt.
Yeah, that's the projections are the projections. Walt, I think you're clearly the underdog coming into this matchup. I don't know that I would say you're a 142 to 115 underdog, but Huey Lewis in the news is a 10-win team. They go over. On a bad week, they're going over 130 points. So this is pretty formidable. Kyle, I'll bring you in. Same question. Look across the table. You've had a week to sit and think about it. Now you've got Huey Lewis in the news, who are also sitting back, playing Born to Run. Who do you want to see come out of it?
Hey, Kyle, before you answer, Tony, there's a spill on aisle 5, and he's got to go back to work. So can we allow him a parting comment?
Oh, please.
Go ahead.
Just sad that there's no Honor Bowl versus Sody this year, but we'll be back next year, and I will be taking Tua.
Thanks, champ.
Adios.
Tony.
All right, Tony.
All right, so back to your question. I want to earn this. I want to earn this toilet seat, and I feel like if I face Born to Run, it would just be like taking candy from a baby. So I want to face the best team this league has to offer, and that would be Huey. So I want to get fed Huey for the title game. I don't want Born to Run. I don't want Born to Run because I just know it's gonna be too easy.
Wow. I mean, selfishly, I would like to see that matchup so I can go get the "It Stops Here" T-shirts made, because I will have them made, and I will watch all of the games wearing that T-shirt that for championship weekend for sure. It's a good story, but again, Huey Lewis in the news. That team is no joke. I don't want to get too much into the season-long analysis of Huey Lewis in the news. I'm gonna hold off on that until either they get eliminated or they move on to the title game. But I will just say this: a lot of really good decisions this year, and I'll say that about the league. I'll talk about the league right now. This year, the manager performances, wow, like a lot of really invested, intelligent moves being made, and this was a tough league to keep up with. So my hat's off to all of the owners, especially the ones that have moved on to the Final Four. Yes, good for all. I don't want to whip the headphones off, but good for all. So we've got our Final Four. Now we've got Huey Lewis in the news taking on Born to Run. No lineup needed taking on Sody Pantloads. This is it. this weekend, if the NFL can survive yet another COVID minefield, we will know who's playing in the championship heading into next week's podcast. Walt, can you believe that we're here? Let's start with this. We did this last week too, but holy moly, it's we're almost to the championship game.
Yeah, and I don't want to jinx it. I mean, but I never in a million years. The NFL just keeps plugging along, pushing along, and it's so great that we actually can get to kind of complete this and actually have a champion, which was my greatest fear. We would have gotten halfway through, and then, the NFL stopped, and we just never declared a winner. And, I mean, there was a little impact. We got a couple scary moments. Christian had a game where he wasn't sure he was going to get guys start, and the owners adjusted. And to me, I don't think it really significantly impacted the final standings or the win-loss for any team in my mind.
No, and people were on top of it. There's, we've all played in leagues with other people, and when there's these last second changes, and then you got Tuesday night games, and they're not even paying attention, and they're putting zeros up, and you don't have that in BARFF. Like, there's someone waiting in the wings in BARFF. It's a great league. I love it. My hat's off to all of you again. Tyler, you are on the outside looking in. You've been eliminated. You know the Final Four. Your pick for the championship game. Who's going to be in there?
So, I'm going to pick Walt in game one. And as much as it pains to say me, I'm going to say Sody Pantloads, game two. And we're going to see the championship, the rematch that we all want. But I think this time, Border Run's finally going to see their demons through and push Sody Pantloads out to the curb.
All right, bold predictions. This is like this is a little mafia. You don't go against the family. I like it. And,
this family does
who
not
knows?
It's head to head. We're going at it all the time.
I love it. I love it. And so that we have our Final Four, and we're heading into the championship game. Huey Lewis in the news is the silent voice here, but again, they're looking like the number one team. They're up there with Sody Pantloads. They've been waiting, and we're going to see. We're finally going to see who's playing for glory, and we'll see everyone next week. Parting shots, people. Walt, parting shots.
Yeah, I guess the only parting shot for me is, again, I congratulate everyone who made it. It's always a long season, and a couple of things, need to go your way, no matter how smart you are or how many moves you make. You don't get a James Robinson drop in your lap every day. Good pickup, but who would have saw that he would put up those kind of numbers? No, that's the booze talking. But but yeah,
he's sober in saying that.
But I will say, I give Christian took a lot of heat. I was giving him some tough questions, and he showed, though, that he belongs. Christian, I'm saying it. He belongs with the rest of us. He might have taken a couple of years to take a long nap, but he's back, baby. And, I give Christian a lot of credit that he's put together a really solid team. If I had to say, of all the four teams, the sleeper to come out on top, it's going to be Christian, because I think, historically, you can look at some of the best teams, mine last year, maybe the greatest team ever in the history of BARFF. You don't win. Tyler, when he had a 10 and whatever.
11. He had an 11 win team. Yep.
Didn't win the championship that year. So ultimately, the best regular season record doesn't necessarily win the championship. And Christian, I wish you luck. I think you got a good chance. Kyle, I am not wishing you any luck at all. Nothing would make me happier watching you get knocked out this week. So that's it for me.
There's no luck involved.
Kyle, parting shots.
Going into the year, we were talking about how we might have to simulate on Madden, things like that. What was that? Yeah, Stratomatic, all the possible outcomes. It was looking pretty grim. But where would we be this year without BARFF? The weekends would be not even the weekends. This has become a full-time job. Not a job, but
yes.
A great hobby, and it definitely takes up a lot of fun time, and it is always enjoyable sitting down Sunday just see how it unfolds. And this has definitely been like the biggest year for involvement for everybody. The group chat is always like on fire. Everyone's on that waiver wire all time. So this was really a, changing season for BARFF. It's always been the greatest league, but this has cemented it as the greatest league in the world.
This has been a hell of a year. And I will say, if podcast continues past this season, that group chat has to get a segment in the show. Just first, I need some of it deciphered. I needed it interpreted to me, and then we could just go on for a long time about what goes on in that. Christian, parting shots.
I just want to thank Walt for acknowledging me, because I know that first podcast that I was on, you tried seeing if I really belonged, and out of the even the excluding Tony, because it was a pretty flip. I was the only one out of the first half of the season that had a negative record, and a far negative record, 2-4. So I lost 2/3 of my games in the first half of the season, and I only lost one in the second. So, I think I've proven to myself that, I have what it takes. And, I just want to say, again, on me getting lucky, because everyone likes to talk about me getting lucky with my defenses. I've had 4 defenses play for me. Each have gotten above 10 points. 2 have gotten above 20 points. So, and then I've only played 2 kickers. And then that kicker has gotten me, 20 points and 10 points almost every week. So, you talk about different strategies in the league. You got Huey with his 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds, and then Tony with his, mildly decent wide receivers in the first 2 rounds. And, I'm still coming out on top. And, I think the last thing that the Sodi Pantload should be afraid of is that I have the best running back and wide receiver in their positions and the second best tight end. So, you better hope that, Claypool gets the points from Roethlisberger this week, because if not, I think you're in for a tough one.
Yeah, I'm going to say, and I was going to jump in when Walt was making his statements, but if I'm looking at a roster that has Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, complemented by McLaurin and Waller and Younghoe Koo, I'm not so sure that I'm looking at a whole lot of underdog heading in. And so we'll see, Christian. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for all of you. I certainly can't be rooting for myself, because my team was so pathetic that I didn't really even get to the finish line. I just kind of got left in the dirt. So good for us. Walt, there's 2 left, 2 podcasts left. And so I will say, we'll talk about this more next week, but tell me your thoughts as we close out the show. This week we have more voices, more faces. It's a little choppy, and we're going to see how it comes out. For all I know, none of this audio is being recorded, and we're going to scrap this whole fucking thing. But Jordan is going to take on the putting this together, and this really, I think this is what this league needs right now as we head to the end is more of the league involved. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it's great getting everybody in, and at some point, we can. I think the more the merrier. We can have call-in questions. I love it. Because everybody's so involved, it just makes it fun, and everyone adds a lot of content, which is fantastic. So
yeah,
and I want to thank. We all thank the commish, because this is the brainchild of our commish, the podcast. I mean, this has been a blast.
I don't know. I actually think if I have to give credit to that, I heard someone make this statement at the draft, and I want to say it was Tyler. I want to say Tyler might have said the word podcast at the draft, and here we are. And if this continues, it's great. We now have the ability to take multiple callers. And we're still looking at live streaming, all of these possibilities. But definitely to get more voices and more faces is really important to me. And so I thank all you guys for coming on tonight.
Yeah,
I am going to hit the music.
I was going to say, Kyle likes to take credit for everything, so he'll probably say it was him who came
I think it was me.
It might have been him. It might have been him. I think it was definitely one of the Mikulski boys. the Who Said the Word podcast, and I was like, that's pretty interesting. And this is definitely what we needed. We'll talk more about it over the next couple of weeks. But I think that 2020, our middle finger to 2020, involved this podcast. So.
Amen.
That is our show for the night. I'm hitting the music, and thanks to my co-host Walt Mikulski. Thanks to all our guests, Kyle, Christian, Tyler was on, Ant was on. Good luck to all in the Final Four. Good night.
All right, see you
Thank
next
you,
week.
Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank
Coming
you.
for you, Winter Run.
Yeah. Okay, bud. You have to get through me first, bitch.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna steamroll you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, boss. You better hope.